Me, 46, and with my wife, 45, married 26 years reading an old diary, led to a revelation, yes. We were married very young and have two adult children who are out on their own typical HS sweetheart stuff here, each other's first, etc. I'll cut to the chase. When I was young, 22. I had an affair that lasted about 5 weeks. It was the dumbest thing I've ever done. I was a scumbag. I know it now, and I knew it then. Wife caught on, and I finally slapped sense into myself, broke things off, and spent the next 24 years of my life trying to make up for it. I would go through bouts of guilt and depression so bad that it would be crippling to me emotionally. I am not asking for sympathy for that. I deserved it, and I know it. She, of course, at first was devastated, and I hurt her more than anything. I will even cry to this day about hurting her like that. The look on her face when I finally admitted to the affair is something I will take to the grave with me for the first 5-7 years. After the affair, we were married and still loved each other. She obviously guarded her heart, believe me. I understand why, and there would be days where she would cry over something that would remind her of it. As the years went on, she didn't bring it up as much, but there wasn't a year ago by where at least 2-3 times that it came across and she would be hurt by this. Some of it, by her own admission, was jealousy because I had been with someone else again. Not once did I ever say anything about it other than to try and comfort her and apologize to her at 20 years post the affair. She said she wanted to be done with it and embarked on nights of long discussion, trying to deal with things that we should have probably dealt with years ago. This led to lots of painful talks. She wanted details 20 years later, and the same thing over and over of why I know that I ducked up. I know that what I did was unforgivable by most people, and I have always been so grateful that she forgave me. I honestly have done everything I can think of to be the husband she could be proud of and support her. We have had a good life together, and now that we are on our own, we are kind of enjoying each other again. Like we haven't since we were both kids. This enjoyment has led to us re-exploring our youth and our dating time as teens. We have been looking at old photos of us and reading old love letter to each other. Yes, we are so old that we actually wrote letters on paper. We both kept journals as kids, and we have been sharing them with each other. Hers are kind of silly, and mine are downright embarrassing to read. However, this has led to a discovery she has obviously forgotten that she wrote in that book well up into our marriage and past the affair. I don't know if I wasn't supposed to read this, as she had given me the book to read a chapter of, but I didn't stop. I kind of skimmed over the book and found how unhappy she was right after we got married, how she really thought she made a mistake and found herself attracted to her old boss at work again. I don't fault her or even use that as justification for what I did. I skipped to after the affair, and it was some heartbreaking stuff to read, I freely admit, to sitting there bawling and racked with guilt again. I was feeling like acid until I came to the part where I read that she acted upon her attraction to her boss, who was like 15 years older than her at the time. He was also married. In other words, one night after work, she screwed him in his office. Now, the next part was her writing about the shame of doing it, how bad she felt, whether or not she should confess to me, and ultimately that she quit. The next day, she told me she got laid off. I put the journal down shaking. This was 22 or so years ago. She did it within 2 months of me admitting to my affair. I am now a conflicted mess. Part of me says I have no right to feel anything about this, and that I should just move on and pretend like I never saw it. But there is a part of me that is so very hurt that she not only allowed me to suffer for years with guilt, but that she played the "I've only ever been with you" card, which made my depression even worse. I get that she felt guilty herself, and she did not believe that I could have gotten over her being with someone else. I don't know what I'm looking for here. I feel betrayed, and not just in the fact she slept with another man who would be getting close to 60 now, but the fact that she let me wallow in this despair for over 20 years, when in fact she has done something very similar herself and has not had to endure any ramifications other than whatever she has put on herself. which I admitted probably bad if was anything like mine, but for whatever reason, it feels uneven. Should I even talk about this with her? Or should I just chalk this up as another thing? I deserve TL doctor found out from reading journal that wife had a revenge affair 20 plus years ago, don't know what to do. Redditor reactions. Redditor 1. You two may need a marriage counsellor to sort this out. Redditor 2, it's going to be easy to jump to. How dare she put me through all the hell when she cheated on me? Here, I'm already seeing several comments doing that, but don't do that. She was entitled to her grief. She was entitled to her distrust. She was entitled to her anger that she cheated on. You does not negate that you don't have the right to take that away from her. However, you now are also entitled to feeling grief. You now are also entitled to feeling distrust. You now are also entitled to feeling anger that you cheated does not negate that if anything, you are entitled to even more of that grief of distrust and anger. She didn't simply cheat on you, she cheated on you, and she lied about it for over 20 years. This means that all of the patience you showed her, she needs to show to you. All of the remorse you experienced in front of her, she needs to experience in front of you all of the work you did to make things right. She needs to do. She may try to play it off as it happened so long ago. For her, it happened 20 years ago. For you, it's happening today. You are entitled to the same emotions and expectations. Now that she had then, she will need to understand that if she doesn't, you need to insist on Coop's counselling. Good luck, Redditor 3. I think you should ask yourself if your wife had never caught on and your affair had ended naturally, if you would have taken it on yourself to confess. Redditor 4 first, I am very sorry for your pain. Second, I want to make a point I do not see being made here. And I am on the bus, so forgive me, crappy formatting, lack or quotes. You and your wife are not even, now you had a 5-week ongoing affair. You enjoyed it, you took pleasure from it, you did this. Even though you were in a happy marriage, you also didn't stop yourself and fess up to your wife. You got caught by her, and she had to remove you from the situation. Your wife, on the other hand, had a horrible marriage where her spouse was cheating on her upon finding out she reflexively sleeps with someone as well. It sounds like she did not enjoy it, as she felt immediate shame, something you cannot claim, and she stopped herself and removed herself from ever seeing him again. Now, I am not saying what she did was right, and bringing up she has only been with you as wrong, but you are the one who betrayed this relationship. You are the one who stepped outside the Marshall bed, and you are the one who couldn't stop yourself, Dot. And this keeps coming up because she just doesn't get it. You're the one who drove her into someone else's arms, but she didn't want to continue. But you, on the other hand, had an ongoing affair. She still doesn't understand your reasoning because for her wasn't fun and exciting. It was a way to try and get rid of her that didn't work. This is not an eye for an eye scenario. You have every right to be upset this happened and that she did this to you. You do not have a right to be angry at her for the last 20 years of her sadness because her actions do not negate yours. She still feels all that hurt and pain, and honestly, if she didn't enjoy her night, it probably only made things worse. You can be upset by her lies of omission and her actions of sleeping with another man. If you angrily confront your wife, you will damage what you'll have built up, and the pain of your affair and the mental state she was in for hers will rear its ugly head. You both need therapy to get over this. Tell her you are signing up for counselling and you want to move forward. Calm down before you talk to her, and if you feel you all can have a calm discussion, do so.